This 2002 Jennifer Lopez thriller features one of her most underrated roles, despite its low critic score. By the early 2000s, Jennifer Lopez was cementing her place in the spotlight as a Hollywood actress, following the success of her breakthrough role in Selena. While her rom-coms, The Wedding Planner and Made in Manhattan, became cult classics, movies like The Cell and Angel Eyes weren't at the top of critics' lists at the time. Looking back at Lopez's filmography, there's one movie that establishes her as an actress, imbuing her character with heart and depth in a storyline that resonates with viewers. In 2002, Lopez's thriller role in Enough only earned a 22% rating from Rotten Tomatoes. Yet the movie resonated with its audiences for its depiction of domestic abuse and how Lopez's character fights back to become her own heroine. It's not a five-star movie, but it's certainly one of Lopez's most criminally underrated roles. What is Enough about? Enough follows Slim Lopez, a working-class waitress who begins to fall in love with a customer who comes to her rescue one day, named Mitch. Billy Campbell. Their relationship begins to blossom, and Mitch becomes the man of Slim's dreams, which ultimately leads to marriage. But the handsome face he put on for her was only a facade to hide his true nature. Years into the marriage, Slim has endured his abuse, violence, and manipulation. Faced with the reality of his infidelity and his lies, she decides to take their young daughter and flee. While Slim got the courage to escape the violence, it proved impossible to stay hidden. Mitch's powerful and wealthy connections give him the upper hand, finding her wherever she goes. She soon realizes that to protect her daughter and herself, she has to face the monster head-on. Enough is a movie built on power and resilience. Some can agree that Enough's plot did have its askew moments, veering into melodrama or stretching plausibility with how easily Slim transforms herself into a capable opponent against her ex. But the movie's imperfections don't undermine or dilute the heart of the story, which is often empowering in depicting fighting back from physical and psychological levels of domestic abuse. At its core, the film is about reclaiming autonomy in the face of overwhelming control. It's depicted in various moments once the audience and Slim are made aware of Mitch's true nature and his microaggressions, which soon paint a larger picture. From refusing to stop his infidelity, knowing Slim has no money, to how audiences see Mitch's manipulation of the local police. It feels as though he's the overbearing thumb and Slim the helpless ant underneath. At the same time, Enough's uneven beats in the storyline almost underline the desperation of Slim's journey. Survival is never a clean break. It's not neat or polished, and her raw transition from fear to empowerment mirrors the heart-racing chaos of what it means to say enough is enough. The movie leans into a thriller by how it depicts the unnerving reality of what it means to escape abuse. The tension of Slim and her daughter having to relocate multiple times over the sudden fear that Mitch would find them, and the hold-your-breath moments, wondering if he's lurking in the shadows. There's a level of sympathetic ache for Slim, who is trying her best to protect her daughter against something she has no real knowledge of until she's face-to-face with it. Enough's storyline is jagged with certain elements that most realistic people in the same situation don't have, like a rich, absent father who decides to help money-wise. While it may stumble in execution, it lands certain blows just right for when Slim's character has her hero arc, where the fight against Mitch isn't just physical, it's a symbolic reclaiming of her power as a woman and mother. By the end, you'll realize that Lopez's character made it out when most people don't have the same opportunity. Jennifer Lopez squares up in a role that transforms fear into fierce empowerment. When audiences meet Slim, she's a diner waitress who already gives off a "don't mess with me" attitude that clearly shows her authoritative resilience. But it's not until she's suckered into Mitch's plan to woo her that things take a turn, and it becomes exactly why Lopez can bring Slim's character to life in Enough. Lopez's performance makes you invested, because she charts Slim's transformation, not as an overnight shift, but as a gradual layering that shapes the character through the different moments of manipulation. You're able to see how Lopez embodies the wide-eyed woman helplessly in love with a man she never thought could be hers. It makes the shift in her performance more striking as audiences see the physical toll of hesitating movements, downcast reactions, and absolute fear. Slim's insecurity grows with every scene, and Lopez captures the disorientation of a woman realizing how far she has fallen into his lies, with few friends to turn to, no family for support, and no one to believe her. It's a haunting realization that Lopez clearly brings to the screen with ease. There's emotional honesty in how she portrays Slim that makes her evolution into a fighter so much more rewarding and juicy to watch unfold. Of course, Lopez's character isn't going to become a vigilante for the cause, but you'll feel content with the ending knowing it gave the victim a fighting chance. Lopez sells the fear as convincingly as she sells the strength. At one moment, you see her retreating into herself, second-guessing her every move under Mitch's gaze. In another, you see her tightening her fists with the hard-earned knowledge that she has no choice but to push forward. Enough is Lopez's hidden and tucked-away movie to watch that deserves to have the victory bell rung and her hand raised in the air with a story of a woman and mother who refused to let an abuser win.